Oh my God, we look great. Wait, am I? But I can't do anything with it. There's nothing I can do. I'm gonna exit because it doesn't seem like I can do anything with it. How sweet it is to be right here with Q. All these things are strapped. He's on Facebook watching us. It's going to be kind of hard for him to be.
Can you hear me though? I don't think you can hear us. Yeah, it sounds like this is working. Yeah. You can't really hear it. It's us guys. 1, 2. Jerry Jones said the Cowboys are going all. You didn't have us on?
You was on.
I had to down. It was just it was actually at the same level. Are you guys? You guys have to talk into it like this. Exhibit A. Look at this. This is communication 101 into the microphone.
What's happening?
Hello.
Ask everybody what their experience.
Nice. I heard the hello.
What are you guys experiencing out there?
Do you hear us?
Man, it sounds
Do you hear me?
amazing. Maybe you got to spit on it and put it back in there.
I don't know what you're referring to, sir. Yeah. You know, and stuff.
There was a time where we tested everything.
There was a time.
You know, just want to say that I happen to know of a podcast studio that we could use.
Hey, the delay is real.
Turn us up. There we go. Turn us up.
All right. I think we're back.
We're in it.
Business.
We're in it to win it. Cheers.
Business. Cheers.
Testing.
What's up? Are there people actually watching this shit show?
Hey, looks
Oh
good.
my-
All
yeah,
right,
yeah, we
we're
probably
here.
lose a lot of people.
No, I think
What are you doing?
turn us down a little bit still.
Who?
Oh, he didn't even touch you guys. He wanted you guys to be the loudest
Yeah.
motherfuckers in the room.
Way to
Hey,
go,
we're
Q.
good,
He thinks it makes him more
Real,
masculine.
yeah, real good.
Very loud.
Makes him
Right.
taller.
Real cool.
All right, so everyone watching, can you hear us?
What's going on? What's going on? What's going
Not
on? What's
them,
going
can you
on?
hear
Them,
us?
can you hear us?
Testing. Attention, please.
The lions in the room.
My 10 cents. My 2 cents are free.
Q, first subject, hit it.
Well, we getting right into it. No intro.
You speak right into it.
First subject. Okay. Well, we look.
Actually, no, first let's introduce. Yeah, intro, Q.
Introductions.
Hi, everybody doing? Welcome to the Be Unleashed podcast. We're here. We're live every Tuesday as best as we can. My name is Quantre Ali Johnson. Here, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, all around the scenes, in front of you. So that's my intro.
Boom. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It has been too long. We are back here live from Georgetown, Delaware, ready to rock out and be unleashed. My name is Bobby Jones. I am a partner with UnleashU Now and an enthusiast of this personal development game that we are on.
Turn. I mean, I thought we were going in order, but I guess not. You're in order. You're out of order. Hey, what's up? Alex McClure here, one of the OGs, and
Triple OG.
I guess, man.
Yeah.
Been here a long time. Like to party, and here for the fun.
What's up, guys? Michael Faber. I like long walks on the boardwalk, pina coladas on ice, and I mean there are an ice drink, but an addict, once of drugs, now of personal growth, right? And you know, Michael Faber, UnleashU Now. Let's go, let's get it. Long live the Unleashed. Who's got it better than us? Nobody.
If you know what time we were supposed to start, you can tell we've kind of been here a little while doing some real dumb shit.
Here
Welcome.
we are, and we are
Welcome.
here. All right.
Tuesday night.
First topic. We can
First topic.
We're going into the first topic. Hey, comment. Let us know how you guys are doing this evening. My man over here said attic. and I thought he said attic. Look, that's me being a roofer. That's all I was thinking of.
He's stuck in the attic.
I'm in the attic.
He's always stuck in the attic.
We're all in attic, if you know what I mean.
We're all in attic. Like Anne Frank?
Sorry, I misheard you. What did you say? I couldn't understand with the braces.
First topic. Let's expand on what we was talking about prior to going live.
What?
The mentality of being broke and poor.
Great argument.
I know, right?
Nice one.
You are.
Oh, thank you.
Broke or poor?
Okay. So I have the belief, right? My thought process is having a mentality of being poor sets you back, and being broke is just temporary. Because everybody been broke before. Everybody's like, been down out, only had $2 today, whatever, But when you're poor, that's more so a mindset. I think it's a mindset more than anything.
What if they're both mindsets? What if they're both programming?
What?
Could be.
Whoa, what?
It's not necessarily wrong. But from what I've seen from my environment, like it definitely like shows like people who, will rather, I may be broke, but I'm not poor.
Yeah. I've been both. Oh, what's up, Pops?
I think both are a little bit of a mindset thing. Go ahead there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Robert
I don't know
Jones?
which one. I mean, I get it. I understand what
Junior?
you're talking about. One, I think, I don't know which one. You guys decide. I don't care. One of them is your financial position. Okay.
Word.
Right.
Word.
That is how much money you have versus how much money you're owed or you owe. All those things, right, are all taken into account. And that is the representation of whichever one of those words you want to pick. But I also understand that there is the other side of it, right? Is like, okay, one of these things really nurtures a victim mentality. It nurtures a closed mindset to opportunities. And therefore, you take less risk. You try to do the more comfortable things and consistently do the comfortable things. And this is all in reference to the post that Mr. Michael Faber put on Facebook earlier, right? Which was billionaires lose millions to become billionaires. Millionaires lose thousands to become millionaires. But broke people stay broke. What was the last one?
Want to get rich but not lose anything.
Yeah, they want to. Yeah, broke people want to get rich without losing anything.
I got my 8 Mile swag on right now. I'm going to say both are because both
spaghetti.
are conditioning of programming for us to believe and think in a certain way, right? We all know the classification of anything is for meant to us to fit in certain boxes, believe certain things and think certain limits are ours because of where we are. I think, and then when we argue the play of words, right, we just stay in the same maze they want us in to begin with because we're just arguing which one is acceptable and neither are, right? I won't even talk about myself. I'll talk about other people in the room. I'll talk about Bobby J, also Robert Jones Jr. If you want to know, he has multiple names. Alicius Altias. He's also known as Alice. Right? And right, came out of the clink clink and went to his cousin's house, right? Wore his suit, didn't even have his own suit, right? And became an employee, then a manager, then a business owner, then knew that business was bad news, wasn't going to work right with the people he was in it, and was like, bounce, I'm going to do my own thing this different way that I know is going to work right and be good for us, right? You didn't necessarily have the blueprint on how to do it, right? Right? You didn't necessarily have all the resources on your fingertip that was nice and easy, a finger button to hit and be like, I don't know anyone, I can't do it, right? It was just like, yo, I don't want to live this life anymore, right? I don't want to live this life anymore, so I'm going to go find a way to live a different life. And I feel like you have done that.
Having the choice.
This dude summarized my whole life quicker than I've ever summarized it ever.
That was and trust me, I used to work for this motherfucker. I heard it from front to back. That was the best.
I have
30
heard
seconds of-
this story sometimes. Yeah.
Same here.
Roberto. All right. So, and it's like, so are you a special breed of dinosaur, my friend? Are you like a different fabric of the human existence that never happened in this world before and is only going to happen here? We need to take your body to science right now so they can explore it further. No? All right.
You was on some MC stuff. Like, you was.
If we just took the audio off and just sent this to somebody, be like, he's definitely dropping bars right now.
Like, if you just close your eyes and not even look at it, you would think it was a battle rap or something.
But we're losing a bunch of viewers by me doing this, and I don't even care. Right? The idea of this is, and why I say it, and why I said those things in that particular order is because of this. What we hang on to is what we are believed to be the reasons why we can't do something, right? And when you let go of those reasons, you have stories like we just told you of Bobby Jones or Robert Jones Jr. or Roberto Naz, right? Right?
He's on
Great energy. Stay tuned in. Yeah, I like what you're saying, Mike, because you're right. There was a moment where it's like I was looking at the things that were out of my control as reasons for why I couldn't, until a day came where I decided to look at only the things that were within my control. And when I started to focus on those things, I found the things that I could go and do despite my financial resources to climb. And it was a mindset shift. That's it.
And like, I always tell the story about the first mastermind I joined and why I swear to people to join masterminds, even if it's not ours. Right? Yeah. Right. I went there and I went for my Kia skateboard and it had the Hawaiian Punch logo on the bottom. And I was like, sir, how much will I get for this? He said $19.99. I said, I need $20.99. And we made a deal. And that's where I learned the art of the deal. None of that happened, but I did have a skateboard once.
I would have believed it.
Yeah, I did have a skateboard once that had the Hawaiian Punch on the bottom of it. No. Yeah, it was Hawaiian Punch. I was about to say Kool-Aid Man, but it was Hawaiian Punch. Right?
Oh, yeah.
What happened? So, oh, nice. What I had to do was take 4 different credit cards out to be able to join because I didn't have that cash handy. Right? I just took a bunch of L's in the world of cash. Right? So I didn't have cash handy. And the outside world, they'd be like, no, he's doing fine. It was like, yeah, sure. Okay. But cash was tight.
Yeah.
And it was like, I need to figure out a way to have cash because this guy said he's not going to not take cash. He said he's not the bank. I think he actually said he wasn't Discover or some shit. I didn't really understand it when he said it, but he meant like he wasn't going to let me make payments. He wasn't a bank or a credit card.
I think he's
go get one of them, right? And I couldn't get one because I didn't know what credit was, right? Like they didn't teach that in school, right? Like, so I didn't know what credit was, so I didn't have any. So I was like, oh, all right, and I had to get like college credit cards, right? That were like 41 APR and $2,500 max, right? So they really make like 5,000 off your credit card, and you can only use 2,500, right? Great for them, beautiful business strategy. Horrible for the person using it. And I used 4 of them and learned a very valuable lesson that don't do that shit because it was crazy. But if I did not do that, I would not have joined that mastermind that taught me business in a way I've never seen business. That made me be able to do things in business that it would have took me hundreds of thousands of dollars in losses and years to figure out and find out and to be able to turn around a business the way we have to turn around the business.
You basically took the risk now rather than later, which
I know if I don't take the risk, there is no reward.
That is true.
Right? Because there's no reward if you don't take a risk.
That is.
Now, go ahead, Alex, if you got something on this. Chime in, big dog.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Michael Scott Wayne Gretzky. They collaborated on that. It was co-authored. Hey, I like where you went with that because I also think that, like, for me especially, like, bro, I hate seeing cash in an account that is not doing something to make me money. So you won't find me often cash heavy because my assets will be tied up in income producing resources and assets. For example, real estate. Most of my wealth is tied up in real estate. So if you did my wealth calculations, that would not equal my cash balance in my accounts, right? So, but I also think understanding that is the difference between, like, okay, right? Like you might have had to use those 4 credit cards. To me, that is okay. You might have been cash broke, but that doesn't mean that
you were broke. So to me, like, that's also understanding, because you're right. Like, you do, bro, you have to take risks in this fucking game. And I love the quote that came from this motherfucker recommending what's the name? The Greatest Showman. The Greatest Showman to me when Mr. Damn, I'm freaking drawing a blank right now on the name of the guy. But anyway, Barnum, PT Barnum, is talking to Bailey, his partner, and he's telling him his grandioso plans, and Bailey's trying to bring this guy back down to earth. And he's like, dude, you're going to risk everything you've built to do this. And he looks him dead in his face and is like, how do you think I built it? And it was an eye opener for me, because, like, there are times where you do get a little bit nervous to take a risk or to put something, into an investment that, you might not always be completely in control of. So those risks, you have to make them, have to take them.
Want to give some love to the comment section. Chris Anderson said, broke is the physical position, poor is the mental position you're in. And then, he said, yes, Bobby. Javier Santana, whoop, whoop, yeet. Throwing some blue and greens. Margaret McClure, she said, AKA good look, Bobby.
Good look, good call, good look, Bobby.
Sonny?
Yeah, my pops, man.
Sonny.
Pops,
Shout out to
man.
Sonny. Mike and Alex, my boys. All right.
My pops.
And Chris Anderson said, but you can be broke physically or in the wallet, but not be poor in your mindset. Nothing's wrong with being broke. It happens as long as you have the mindset not to stay there.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could sit there and argue the facts all day, right? Broke, poor, mindset, whatever else, right? Like, what it ultimately comes down to is there is enough out there for everybody. Period. There's plenty out there for y'all to go get, for us to be able to interact. What it really takes is a good community behind you, right? Good people. And I'm learning that now, man, more than ever, in life and in journeys that, where I am currently in my life, man. It ain't great. Like, just gonna be real with you. I'm not in a good spot. I'm not doing great, man. We're pretty tough off. Like, still haven't found a job yet. So still jobless, still trying to work out an opportunity to find that. But ultimately, I'm not sitting on my ass waiting for it to happen either. You know what I mean? I'm out there, I'm 3D printing, I'm doing my hustles, I'm working with my teams, I'm reaching out, I'm networking with people, trying to figure out where that next landing spot's going to be. Brother, 6 times too big. You know how it works. But ultimately, right, it probably is now, right? It probably is now. Facts. But lost like 88 pounds. But I look at this, man. Like, I've been poor, I've been broke. I mean, shit, man, in life, like, that's just where it's gonna go. You know what I mean? Like, we're always with, you know what I mean? Like, life is a cycle and a journey, man. Like,
Of course.
you know what? We got to go through the hard times to realize the good times were as good as they were sometimes, right? And I hate that, because it's like, shit, man, I just want the good times all the time. Maybe. I don't know.
That sounds like
Word.
there probably is
but
a
I'm digging
most
with it.
likely.
But I think about that, man. I've been broke, right? Where I've had like nothing, no money, no fucking sense, right? Like nothing, man. And then I crank on to like poor, right? Like I was a poor kid, right? Like growing up, man, my pops, like, we were poor, man. We didn't have much, but we were never without, right? We always had love. We always had each other. We always had that family. We always had that groove, man, where we were together, right? So like broke, poor mentality, man, it's all one thing or another, right? But I think when we look at it, man, it's like that support structure, that community that keeps us together.
For sure.
When I was a young Margaret, my sister, man, was just born. We were in a 3-bedroom house with 2, 4, 6, 7 people. We had 7 people in a 3-bedroom house. And we lived on a pond, right? And we had no money, dude, like literally nothing. My dad was making chump change. My mom wasn't working. She was taking care of the kids. Like, all this shit was going down, man. And we had literally next to nothing, but we lived on a pond, dude. So like every day was vacation. And like it didn't feel like it really was. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and I heard you talk about this, Bobby, in your life, man. You never felt as poor as you really were, right? So it is a mindset in a way where, yeah, we could have next to nothing, but that doesn't mean you're miserable or unhappy, right? Those sections, those times, right? Like I look back and some of those poorest years that we had were some of the best years of my life.
Mm. Yeah.
Weird, right? Like
Yeah,
that
because you
whole
start to
yeah.
appreciate the little things that was there, like when it was
Rich doesn't
easier.
mean money. Rich is much more than just a dollar sign.
Yeah.
I think that's when you really learn people that have made it or lived through some things is when they talk about what real wealth or real rich is.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think it's very different than just saying I got money in my bank account.
Yeah.
Right.
Difference between rich and wealth.
Right. And
I mean, that's the thing, dude. Like recently, I made very good money. My last positions, dude, I was over 6 figures. I was the most miserable I had ever been in my entire life making that money.
I feel
Because the job that I was working, doing, and all that stuff, they weren't good to me, man. Like I had the worst leadership ever. Those people were horrible. But I was making good money, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna live through this bullshit and hate my life, and still think it's good." But it honestly wasn't, man. So it's like we can talk about that mindset, that mentality of money, happiness, and everything else. Look, like I'm gonna tell you right now, money brings you less stress. Be real. Like I'm gonna be real. Like when I had more money, I had a little bit less stress in the way of, okay, I know that I ain't got to worry about my mortgage. Right. Like I ain't got to worry about my mortgage. I ain't got to worry about shit. But like internally, I was miserable. I wasn't happy. But like I didn't have to stress about where the bills were going to be paid. You know what I mean? So that was nice. But money doesn't always bring you happiness. It's not a catalyst, right? But it does make stress a little easier to deal with.
Yeah.
so I go back and forth. Like I think me and Bob were having this conversation at the beginning of this week. Was it last week? Last week. Where I said like when we were coming up, when you're like trying to have a come up, first of all, I don't know, I'm weird. If we're without, we're a come up away. Right? Like I don't know what's up with me, but rarely when I'm down, I'm thinking about being down. Right? Like I'll take the hit, I'll think about the hit for a minute. I might take an hour and just cry about the hit, but like then it's like, all right, we got to come back. Like where's the bounce? Like how do we bounce back? Like where's the come up? Right? Like there has to be a way. What's the angle? We got to see the angle. Just look for the angle. Right? Also often we think about money and not the things that create money. I think, right? I think we think about, I need this money. I need this money. I need this money. That doesn't help you make money. How can we make money helps you make money. Impact helps you make serving someone, solving someone's problem, giving something someone they need, or telling or showing them they need it, right? Or want it, right? That's the way to make a sale. You don't make a sale because you need to sell something. Typically, when you're desperate to sell something, you don't sell it.
Applying that critical thinking,
right?
Really, more so than anything,
right? So it's like typically when not, it's like, all right, we're a come up away, right? Like let's figure the come out.
Yeah.
I think something I want to go back a lot because you said a lot of great things, and I want to go back to the beginning of that. And that's one thing I think people get somewhat confused in this game. They're like, oh man, you got a lot of people now, you got a lot of employees, you got a lot of people helping you. That's great. That's probably why you're making it, right? And it's like, yeah, you think so, right? Like, one, it's great at times, but also it's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of more things you're worried about than yourself. I remember when it was just me freeballing out there, like that was easy, right? Like now, right now it's made you think. No, we're going commando, broken in the attic, right? Right, but the thing was like, and also what I don't want you to do is get dependent on I need a team. Like sometimes you got to go get a meal yourself. Sometimes you got to pave the way. Sometimes you got to create a meal, right? Both. After I said it, I was like, dang, I'll take either a good meal or a meal. This is my teacup. My other one's over there. Right? That's why it's a teacup. So I think sometimes we're like, man, if I just had this, if I just had that, I need to get a VA, I need to get an associate, I need to get a partner, I need to get an employee, I need to get this, so then it'll happen. No, sometimes you just got to go get.
Yeah.
Right? Like sometimes you got to go get it yourself. So, and also, there are some things during the journey that makes you become.
Yes.
Right? It makes you become something. You learn things. You gain this thing that's like we call experience, right? And it's like, but it's much more than that. It's a deeper term because that helps you develop so much more
Skills
in the space
experience,
thinking process, right? Like to do's, not to do's, where to move, how not to move, right? Like we laugh about the line all the time from Peaky Blinders, and it's a big fuck small. But I'm like, in business, when you learn that, that's a huge thing, right? Like Bobby Jones, the most expensive roofer in Delaware, right? He wants that to be like, he gets pissed when someone has a bid higher than his. Not that he's not happy that he's lower. He's mad they're higher. All right. He's like, this is bullshit. How'd they get higher than me? That company's never higher than me. All right. And it's like, whoa, what? And you know what he does? He didn't go out there and get like Joe Smo Lumberjack. He went out there and got the best and biggest producer of this certain type of shingle, of this certain type of fabric. He was like, I'm going to be connected to the biggest, baddest in this space. And that makes me be able to step on everyone they thought they were bigger than me because they thought I was just Robert Jones.
Bro, I've never had a mic drop moment and I wasn't even fucking talking like that before.
I'm your best hype man tonight. I don't even like you.
I don't even fucking say anything. Bang.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Wow. Love it, dude.
All you want to see is just Mike's moving. Like, snap. Be like, oh, Mike posted something. Like, oh, he got something going. He's like, this all about Bryce. One of the best testimonies we ever had.
I'm doing a quick guest appearance to say hi to my amazing dad who's been watching and commenting. And I agree with him that we had everything because we have family.
Yeah.
And I actually think that with Unleash You now too, like the events and everything are cool, but it's nothing without the community that we've built. So hi, Dad.
Yeah.
Shout out Pops. What's up, Pops? How you doing?
Dude. I mean, that's the thing that I gotta kind of kick back to, man, is that community, that togetherness, that learned versus earned, right? Events, right? And I think about
That's good.
all of our journeys, man. We've all been in some shit. We've all been out of some shit. We've all had tough life. We've all had good life, right? Like I think about, I'm 41, me and you now, right? Same age for a little bit of time. Yeah. Don't shake your head. Don't shake your head. I know exactly how old you are, bitch. So, right? Yeah, I know. We're not gonna talk about the youngins over there, but at 41 years, man, we've lived a lot of different lives. Wow. I mean, I'm 41. I ain't gonna flex, but at 41, you know what I mean? We just, hey, Bobby, how old are you? Where's that hat? Yeah, how old are you
56
again? I'm just saying 41. How we looking? Yeah, all in all.
Bro.
Anyway,
Bro, if I had hair, it wouldn't be fair for the rest of y'all motherfuckers.
genetics,
You know what I mean?
baby. Genetics, baby. But anyway, what I'm saying here is that the community really matters, right?
Yeah.
Like those that we have around us, and we've been on this earth, Faber and I, 41 years. Yeah. I mean, look, dude,
We all know that.
we started this shit a long time ago, man. Me and Faber, OGs in this shit, man. Unleash You Now. We've been doing this a long time. We've lived a lot of different lives. You know what I mean? Yeah, there it is. We've lived a lot of different lives, man. I think about it, right? Like I grew up, very differently than I live now. You know what I mean? And I Bobby, shit, man, you being incarcerated and now living life outside, dude. Like,
Yeah, bro. That's what I was gonna say. That's where I learned credit when you had to fucking, what I mean?
right?
If you needed a sausage or a honey bun,
yeah,
you
right,
had to
a
get
honey
two
bun.
back on commissary day,
how it
bro.
is,
That's how I learned the credit right there.
Right. Learned about interest right there. But I mean, we think about the lives we've lived, man, and we've earned a lot of those things the hard way. We earned a lot the hard way, right? We did. We learned the hard way. And I think this community that we have, man, just speaks volumes to the ability that, we've all been in the shit. We've all had pretty rough upbringings in some cases, but ultimately we've gotten by in certain situations. And I love the fact that when you say, right, when you were in the shit, you didn't feel like you were poor, bro. Like, I didn't either, man.
Yeah, but so I think the greatest thing that comes from that is like being resourceful, right?
Yeah.
So people think that resources are only cash most of the time, right? When you hear resources, they're like, oh, I don't have the resources, I don't have the cash, I don't have this, right? This is what I was talking about when I was talking about like the business side of it. When I was first starting, it was the things that were in my control. Right? Like I knew I could go out and knock on doors and it wasn't going to cost me a fucking penny to go out there and knock on doors. It was going to cost me my time. So I didn't need a website. I didn't need a marketing plan. I didn't need the funnels. I didn't need any of those things because what was within my control and what I could afford was to go out there and spend some time knocking doors. Now, I say that because when we talk about this, there is the mindset of, okay, a lot of business owners are like, oh, Faber brought up a comment earlier and he's like, when I get this, I'll be able to this, right? And then we get stuck in a pattern of believing that. And guess what happens? Every day of our life, we think about this moment where things will be better than it is right now.
Yeah.
Right. It's like when I get here, I'll be able to do this. And we find that, and in that moment, we can't have peace of mind right now because once we get to that moment, we'll be able to have peace of mind. Right. And if I only had this, I'd be good. If I only had that, if I was only able to do this, and that is a never ending game.
Of course.
When you stay in that pattern. That's why I love, there's a book called The Gap versus the Gain. Dr. Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. I think that's right. Yeah. Okay. That is phenomenal. He also wrote a book that says 10x is easier than 2x, and it's not the 10x that you expect. It's a different 10x. It's very good. It's actually, yeah. It's actually the opposite model of what Grant Cardone talks about. He's like, Grant Cardone's model is you were doing all of this last year, do it 10 times, right? It's like it just add a zero to whatever it was that you were doing. Like if you were calling this many people, call 10 times more. If you were selling this, right? And but Dr. Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy, they talk about doing less of these things. Find the things that you can step out of. Find the things, right? But anyway, the gap versus the game. This is where we breed imposter syndrome, right? When you live in this place when you're only focusing on where you are trying to go or where you want to go versus being present in the moment, being understood about the gains that you've had and the experiences that you've had at this point, and understanding that every step towards that goal is the wins that need to be celebrated, not just the finish line.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you're here and you're looking there, you're not that person, as Faber always talks about. You're not yet this person. You're not yet that guy. You're not yet the champion. But a champion is a champion far before he crosses the finish line.
Oh, yeah. Right. It reminds me of something I love that Kobe Bryant said, right? R.I.P. Stop it. He said, right around, like last week.
It was like, 24th.
24th, couple days ago. I was literally in this room when it happened. The true story. No, and when it happened, I think I was actually in here on the 4th anniversary too.
I was on top of one of those tour buses in Miami. I found out about
it. They started singing the 9/11 song. Where are we? No, stop it. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings when he found out.
Do you remember where you were when you found out that Black Panther died?
Black Panther. Where when Black Panther died? We were.
I'll never forget that day. Chadwick Boseman. I'll never forget that day.
Dude, he was like, bro, I'll never forget it. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings, Stover. What? I'm like, bro, I actually don't remember where I was when that happened. Right? Like, it's not, I'm like, it wasn't 9/11 to me. Right? And that's where we got into that conversation. He's crying, laughing. Yeah. Yeah. I like a little different, but not the outside, just his team. But yeah. So the sorry, Javi, we're having a whole conversation.
Yeah, from my situation of
we're making Q. We were making Q die here because of his recollection of history.
Looking back, I was like, I never forget. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings, Dover, Delaware. I was with a bunch of my friends.
Yeah, we were just about to have a good time. We don't even remember what we ate that night. Everything tasted plain.
It just was silent.
And we
Silent
all
ride
stood
home.
up, crossed our arms, and said, Wakanda forever.
Where were you when Black Panther died?
All right, so I got a couple things to say to this. Not that, but this. Things you guys were talking about. One, as much. First of all, I think the blue and green is the most amazing community, bar none. Right, like no offense to anyone or take offense to it. I really don't care when I say this. Yeah, I stand on it. The blue and green, the people in it, the support in it, the love and care in it, the relationships built in it.
Yes.
Like that thing is second to none. And I've been in some of them. I haven't been in others, and I'll still confidently say what we are, how we do it, and that we do it like none other I've ever seen do it or heard of do it. Period, bar none. All right. Now that being said, there are still fires that you need to be forged by.
Yes.
Right? That your community, the people that love you and care about you, cannot protect you from them. They should not. There is times you need to feel the fire. There is times you need to feel the burn and know how you'll react and know what you'll do when you have it and learn from it. Today, I'm going to say a story about my daughter. And she's going to be pissed off she hears about this. So hopefully no one tell her. All right? No one's listening. No one's here. I got you. The brown sugar driving test today. Brown sugar driving test today. It was a big day for us Fabers. She took her driving test today. Brianna failed her driving test today. Right after her driving test, Brianna was distraught. She was like, Dad, you're going to drive me around forever. Right? And I was like, Brianna, no, I'm not. Right? And I was like, we're going to reschedule that thing for 10 days. Whatever you failed, you're going to go practice. She's like, the anxiety of it, the stress of it, I can't handle it. I start freaking out before I even get there. I can't do it. I was like, you got to. That's the only way this happens. Like, I can't get your license for you. Yeah, the driving. She already did that. She already did the test part. Yeah. Oh, that's what. It's the first time she ever failed. It's the first time she failed a test I passed. She failed hers. Yeah. She ran over the cone and got stuck underneath the car. Well, she won't ride in a car with me. She won't drive a car with me in it because one time she was going to hit the brick and like the building that's called the brick. And it made me freak out. And I was like, whoa, the building. And she's like, I can't handle the stress. And like parked, got out and went to my door. I was like, all right, I guess I'll drive. All right. Also, when she was doing driver's ed, she almost hit Arby's, the restaurant. Like drove up on the sidewalk onto the grass. The guy finally got it stopped about less than half a foot from the building. So the only B she ever got was driver's ed. That's how good she was at the written part of driver's ed, because that's how bad she was at the driving part. But anyway, she got better at driving a little bit. But she ran over the cone and got stuck underneath the car. The dude that she did not. The dude that took her in the test had to get out, go underneath the car and get the cone out. Right? She failed. Right? And she was distraught, crying like baby, right? And she was like trying to find a way not to do it. And as dad, there's a piece of me that wants to be like, I got you. Like there's Uber, right? Like there's a bunch of things. Yeah, like fuck it. We got this. But there is wow.
I'm Morgan Freeman.
He's the black.
He's the youngest.
There's like 5 of us here. Yes, the one black dude. Yo, you wanna drive, bro? Yeah.
He's the youngest.
Wow, I don't think so.
The
You
McClures.
had some
Them- I said the McClures, man.
First off, you, sir, are the youngest. So you'd have the longest career. I'm thinking about the old heads. We ain't gonna drive around a young kid. Deal with it.
So what I want people to know is that sometimes even with the best community, that community is only the best community because they understand sometimes you need to feel that fire.
Yes.
Right? Like, how many times people have called us and was like, I need you to bail me out. Literally or figuratively. All right. I need you to bail me out. I need you to help me. I need you to pull this one out. And there's times that I have done it. There's times I have done it. All right. There's times, and listen, sometimes you're supposed to. There are times you're supposed to. There are times you're supposed to bail your people out. There are times.
There are times.
And there are times that you got to let them feel that fire a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's important because it's part of their development. It's part of all of our developments.
Yes.
The fire has taught us things. So I said, it's like only people that have never been burned are afraid of it. The rest of us understand it. Right? Like I get the fire now. Shit. In May, I walked between two of them. Right? But also, I mean, Alex, this will go back to a conversation we actually had like 2 years ago. You were part of this. I think we were on a fucking podcast about what's safer, entrepreneurship or being an employee. All right. Now, both have the areas that could be volatile, 100%.
Right.
The biggest difference is that in entrepreneurship, you control yours. You control your toys, to what you make, what you put out, and you understand your clients. You understand who's buying what. You're not going to make a bunch of shit no one's buying. All right, you just sold your last finger, I heard. The middle finger? Pink. Yeah, you gave it for cookies. Yeah, for cookies. Yeah, I heard it, but it was the last one. You know why? Because those things move. Right? And it's because it's weird that I knew that, right? It's weird that you knew that. I knew it. Anyway, the thing, right?
That's kind of cool.
Dope.
I ain't gonna lie.
That's cool as shit.
That is cool as
Yeah. UnleashU now never gets any of those. I do have a blue and green one of those, the middle fingers. Right? But you make cool shit. But you get to determine what you make, how you make it, where you're working, when you're not working. Shit, you need to make a meal, go sell something.
Yep.
Right? Literally, you told me 3 weeks ago, I just need to sell one of these things, then I'll be all right for now. And I was like, welcome to entrepreneurship. Right? Like right there, I was like, bingo, that's it. That is the power of it. Now I understand what you say about benefits, about medical, right? Like I get that. You can get that too. It's more expensive. I get it most of the time, sometimes, right? It's more expensive or different avenues you got to go to get it. Depending on how you work, what you work, right? And do what you do.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, right, both worlds have collateral damage, right? And risks, right? But it's which one would you rather have? The one where someone else gets to control, calls and ruins your damn months.
Both. And here's why, right?
Multiple streams.
I love the fact that I'm able to create my own entrepreneurial magnet, however you want to call it, right, with 3D printing. And my wife, absolutely fantastic, dude. Jade has been holding down this family for the last 2 months as an entrepreneur, right?
Woo!
But it was my ability to hold down a consistent pay that allowed her to take that chance, right? So there were things that I provided that allowed her to take some entrepreneurial chances, which were great, right? And put it in perspective, right? I was able to have benefits. I was able to have a steady income stream to where that if a month she did not make as much money as she did the previous month, it was okay. There was no detriment to our overall financial being. She has stepped up her ability, right? So like everything is scalable. Everything is, based on condition in a moment. But what it comes down to benefits, right? Like that's expensive. I have chronic health conditions and so does my wife. That's the problem, is that if I did not have chronic health conditions where I required monthly visits to doctors and prescription medication that kept me able to survive, I mean, being real with it, I wouldn't need to go into a position that offered benefits like they do, right? Like if my situation was different and I did not require benefits, I would have no reason to seek an outside position. I would be okay. But the fact that my wife and I have 2 chronic conditions that require us to seek medical professional help every month, I need that. Right. And that's the hard part, right? Like if I was able to, to be an entrepreneur and cover that X cost above living costs, great, man. That's no problem. And Jade has done a great job at that. It's just with both of us, it's
I'm
hard.
sorry. I love you, bro, but you're never going to until you do. Okay. And this is the thing that I will say, like, obviously I don't have any chronic illnesses, but I will tell you this. When we were building Brightside, Abigail was in AI DuPont in Wilmington so much that at like 6 or 7 years old, she knew how to get to AI DuPont from our house in Dover. Okay. And I know this for a fact. I have no idea how much I was paying for health insurance at that time, because by that point, it no longer mattered, because I had worked hard enough to make that something that was happening automatically, and I was looking onward and past it and moved on to the next thing. So I would just say, like, bro, I love you to death. I've only known you guys for a few years, and this is the second time. Few years, bitch. It's 3 years, like literally right now.
It was the end of 20. No,
It was 2021. 2021.
2020. We were on Clubhouse together.
Well, right, but I got on December 30th.
Yeah. It was right at the end of 2020.
So we met in 2021.
Physically.
Yeah. So
I was an expert in the room you were in.
You were definitely an expert. I will give you the credit you deserve, you bearded, business-brained bastard. But with that being said, Alex, love you to death, bro. This is the second time that safe and consistent has not been safe and consistent. And I love you, bro. I just, we get in our own zones, you know what I mean? And I just say that knowing what you're capable of and watching that happen to you, bro, hurts. I know, bro. I know you are a fucking beast, bro. You are a beast. And that's just the truth. There are way less qualified entrepreneurs. That's for damn sure.
Facts upon facts.
That's making
we're gonna build a building on that. That is truth. Right? That's a strong foundation. Coaching entrepreneurs.
Still making the money that they're making.
All right. There's coaches out there coaching people in entrepreneurship that don't know what you know about entrepreneurship, and you're not in it. But I'll say this: one, you guys got real serious on me. I put my hoodie on to be Hoodie Mike to come back into the rap, right, and drop some bars, and you guys had to get serious, right? And I don't know if you remember when Brianna was young; she had a bunch of health problems, right? And it was I'll never forget that they thought she had a muscular disorder, and I bought this like extreme like thing to help your muscles form, right? And literally like the next day, she was just like, "Fuck it." Took off, like never walked a day in her life, took off running, right? They were like, "Oh, she's fine." I'm like, what the fuck? I just spent thousands of dollars on this stupid ass muscular. Dude, it was always like, Brianna was always like that. As soon as we were like, all right, maybe it is a real issue, let's spend money on it, she was like, bet, got it. Didn't talk, got like all kinds of like speech, light therapists, sound therapists, things. She gets this driving test down. Facts. That is actually probably very honestly truth.
Tell her out of her own pocket.
Yeah, out of her own pocket. Definitely got but I'll go something that you said that I'm gonna say, I don't say I disagree, I'll challenge. You said your wife started the business, and because you had the business, you were working, she got to build it. Right, 100% truth. Now, you said then when you lost your employment, she stepped up now, her business is killing it. Right. Because she had to. Right. Ooh, there's this crazy thing when you have to. It's a crazy thing when you have to. Right? Some say burn the boats. Some say you're back against the wall. Some say you're on the edge. All the fucking cliches, but they all mean the same thing. It means if it's going to fucking get done, I got to fucking do it. And that's it. I got to do it. Exactly. Right. And one of the hardest reasons, why I'm the shittiest leader of all leaders is because I always feel like my back's against the wall. I got to fucking do it. I got to do it. I got to do this. I got to do it. I got to do it. So they're like, dude, tell your team, like, let them do it. And I'm like, I got to do it. Right. And they're like, no, just say it. And then they'll be like, we'll do it. Right. And I'm like, but then what happens to my back? Right? Because I'm so used to having that thought of you got to do this. If it's going to happen, you got to do this. And I think sometimes if you're the one, if you're the top, if you have to answer, if it all goes south,
Right.
There are still times where you got to go and say, I got to do it. It's no one else. Everybody's like, I need to find employees that care more. Ain't no one going to care as much as you
Nah.
about your thing. Why would they? It's your thing,
It's your thing.
right? Like you birthed this thing. That's like saying someone should care more about my kid,
Exactly.
right?
Like
Someone
same-
should care more
listen,
about Brianna right now, right? She's crying.
And the same thing, like for me, like I had to learn from my own journey. Like back in 2023 in May, I was working with a company where I was a contractor, but I was an employee. Essentially, I wanted to do more. I wanted to have my own clients and everything like that. And then it was a situation where it was more so a blessing in disguise, where they couldn't afford to have me around. And then instead of me getting upset and mad about it, and mind you, this is a week before I'm about to move me and the wife to a new crib, everything like that, just getting up and everything like that, and then getting let go. I could have been balling out, like figuring out everything like that. Found out, you know what I mean? Because like at that time, like I was making the means, whatever case may be, but I wasn't upset because I knew I was gonna be okay. I had to.
I could shoot Adderall like Skittles. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
You feel me? But it was like literally that same day. Remember, I know you remember the day when I came back, went going MIA for a couple months and stuff like that. You see me at that Master Network meeting, and everybody was open arms, happy to see me. That was the same day.
Yeah, I remember Heather was happy as shit when you walked in the office. She was like,
yeah. And then from that moment, I was like, I had to do this.
Right.
So that whole summer, I was even doing work, like even like if I wasn't even working in my business.
Right. You were working.
I was working.
Working farm work.
I was doing the farm work.
Working farm work.
Exactly.
Working farm work, baby.
Whole summer, just
no one likes farm work.
Because I had to.
There ain't a soul on earth that likes farm work, but when you got to do it, you got to do it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And sometimes when you do it, you're like, now I know why I don't like doing it.
Yeah, I did farm work,
right? Doing hay.
Yeah.
Oh
my
God, fuck hay. Right. I won't even G-rate that. But I'll also tell you this, Alex, what you did in this situation that you don't even know it yet. You empowered your wife so damn much that now that's the level she knows. So that's now the level we're at. We don't go back levels. We stay at the level. So now let's say you do find that gig. Right? Let's say you do and you get it. Well, now it's already raised on this one side because she had to find this level. Now she knows it. When you find a level as an entrepreneur, you don't want to go down another level.
Nope.
You're at this level. You're actually looking, how can I even go a little bit higher?
How?
Right? What's the next step? Right? How do I get better? Right? How do I serve better? How do we get a better result?
Right? I got to be in front of and everything like. Because you never know
who do I have to talk to?
And one day,
the conveyor belt, man, the flesh business, man, they got pissed off at me yesterday in that training. I had people message me pissed off at me about the training yesterday in the mastermind. I had people message me. How could you say that about everything you say? I said, man, at the beginning of business is flesh. It's a flesh. It's sharks. It's flesh. Now, after we realize that flesh exists, we build relationships. But at the beginning, it's flesh. What do you talk about when you're talking about networking communities? How many people are in it? How many people come to the meetings? How many meetings do you have? Right? It's all flesh. Right? Like your conveyor belt is flesh. When they start the ascension process, it's relationship. But at the beginning of every business, it's flesh. Before you knock on the door of a roof, right? Of a house that has a roof, right? Before you knock on the door of a house that has a roof, right? It is a flesh in that behind that door. When we knock, we're going to start building relationships. But we're not going to go like just walk around the field hoping we find something. No, we're going to find flesh. It's a flesh factory because the flesh is who you serve. If you don't have the flesh, you're not serving nothing. Right? Everything comes in time, but that starts. Man, you got to get flesh.
Use words like heartbeat or something.
Flesh
that
business, baby.
Doesn't remind us of like cannibals and Hannibal Lecter.
Get your head out of the gutter.
Say that again, sir.
Get your head out of the gutter. We're not talking about cannibalism.
Just saying he could use more friendly words to the viewers and listeners.
Word.
What's happening with this mic stand?
Well, I will tell you. What up?
What up, dude?
There's so many things out there, man. I mean, look, there's enough money, right? Like we all have our belief system, right? We all have our BS, right? We all have our mentality.
Oh, bro, I got a whole marketing campaign right now that says I'm calling BS.
Word.
Because the bright side.
Yeah, I like it.
I didn't even. I wanted to tell you about that earlier, but I didn't tell you.
Guess what? He just told you now.
I'm calling BS. It's gonna be the whole thing.
You just
That's
told
good,
me,
right?
But yeah, I mean, when we look at it, man, there's a whole bunch of situations. Like, dude, before I had a kid, I wouldn't give a flying snot about a job, entrepreneurship, whatever, dude. I didn't care about. pretty much anything, and we talk about our families, right? You're beautiful girls, Faber with Brianna, myself with Molly. Like, that's when things really shifted for me, man, where it was like life changed, right? Like, now I'm worried about taking care of the kid, and like supporting and being able to give her a good life, right? Like,
Yeah, but defined by what, right? Like,
But,
because I'm sure she's going to
yeah,
be happy.
all she cares about is dad.
Remember, you
She's
said
there,
earlier,
right?
right? What did you say earlier about your childhood?
Oh, I mean, it's all about
You didn't have much,
I
right?
didn't have much, but it
you
was
didn't
about
know you didn't have much.
right. And that's the whole thing. Like, we put these self-imposed situations on ourselves, right? Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't want her to grow up the way or this, the way that, or this, that, right? Like, it's all self-imposed.
Mhm.
She's just happy that dad's around.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
And
I would
it's-
tell you
yeah.
something, dude. My oldest daughter, Ariana, she's a tattoo artist. She's, I don't know,
She's
like
rad.
she's an entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
she does work in a shop, but she has to produce her artwork and attract clients and things like that.
Reputation
So
business.
but I want to say, dude, one of the things I look back on with her, especially, is like I'm so happy that she remembers the trailer park and she remembers the struggles, and she can actually relate back to those moments and know them. And dude, the thing is, bro, like I think we program ourselves to think that they require more than they actually require. Now, I understand health benefits, I understand insurances, I definitely do, but man, there is I had I had my oldest, or my youngest, right before I got fired from Walmart.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what I thought. This job will be a temporary job that I will get, and I will work this temporary job until I find my next job. Right. And that temporary job changed my fucking life, bro.
Yeah.
I learned how to knock doors. I learned how to canvas for roofing, and I learned how to set appointments. And I learned that no is not going to kill me. I learned by knocking all of those fucking, dude, it changed my life. It changed my life, my entire life. And guess what? One of my oldest daughter, she knocked doors.
Yeah.
And guess what she's not afraid of? The word no.
Yeah.
And I take a ton of pride in that. But again, that job was supposed to be a temporary fix between the job that I had.
Hey.
Dude, do you know there's like a run-on sentence? It's like all the faith that Mike had no effect on his life. 4 hads in a row, and it's a proper sentence. Isn't that bizarre? Yeah. Anyway, but my point is, right? I took that temporary job and it changed my fucking life, bro.
Word.
And that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So like, it just happens. We know this. Everything in our lives, it comes from the most unlikeliest moments. Like, I fucking hopped on a weird ass audio chat room app 3 fucking years ago. And now here I am in Georgetown, Delaware with you motherfuckers 3 years later. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
bro.
Damn right. Damn right. I mean, it's interesting you bring that up, right? Because, like, I had a very different upbringing than my sister here did. Margaret grew up in a very different home than I grew up in. And it's interesting that you talk about, your daughters, right? Like, they grew up very differently too, right?
Yeah,
Think
my
about it.
youngest was 4 when we moved out of the trailer park.
Right.
So,
So
she
she
don't
may
remember
not
much of it.
really have that memory, right? Like, I have the memories of the tough times, like no shoes, very little to eat, like shitty living environments, not a great mother, all those things I remember. She doesn't, because she didn't have that. And that was a great thing, is that when Margaret was born, yeah, we were just getting out of the shit, right? Like, my parents had just bought a house, like that my dad was doing better, my mom was doing better, and like those life things came up, right? So we've had 2 very different upbringings in the same household, right? Like, that's crazy to me that when we think about that, right? And I'm thankful that she had that. I didn't want her to live those lives or those things, right? And like it's the same thing with our kids. We want that for them. Like we don't want our kids to grow up the same way we did, but it's all self-imposed. It's all
Right, yeah.
bullshit.
It's like I want my kid to have the life that I never had.
Right.
As
It's
if
all
that has any
bullshit.
fucking
Like,
thing to do with them. Yeah.
Question both you guys right here now.
Love it. Bring it.
What do you Mike's back for a minute? 2 trailer park girls go around the outside, around the outside, around the outside. Guess who's back? Back again. Hoodie Mike is back again. All right. So I'm gonna say disagree, right? And this is why.
You disagree with what?
The what you guys were talking about at the end there. And this is why. The remember earlier we talked about at certain 100%. So earlier we
That's why
talked
you have
about
no muscles. Popeye told us, bro.
we all get forged by the fire. And we're supposed to. There's also a gift to that. Right? It's funny. Once I used to be in a hell of a victim mentality. Right? I used to be hell of a victim mentality. I was like, man, my dad was a hard dad. Man, he was a hard pops. That was a hard pops, man. He was a hard dude. This dude once sat in his tighty whities with a shit stain on the back, with a bottle of vodka in a glass and a gun. And every one of my friends that he saw, he said, you know my son Michael? Yeah, when you see him, send him to me. I got something for him. And every one of my friends were like, oh, yo, your pop's looking for you. I'm like, yo, are you dumb? Like, I know exactly what my pop's is trying to do. Damn, you spilt my glass. So yeah, 100% was. Right? And for a while I grew up, I was like, man, my dad was so hard, man. Like, he didn't let me get away with nothing. And the problem was my dad was tough and smart. It sucked. He was the best of both worlds. I couldn't outsmart him and I couldn't out physical him. Right? He looked like a mountain of a damn man when I was growing up. And then he had multiple master's degrees. He ran multiple businesses in his time. He was so good. The military had him, and they tried to keep him. And the government bought him from the military. And then New York City bought him from the government. Right? It was just one after another. Right? It was like, yo, you're psycho. Right? What's wrong with you? And I would always that's not gonna happen. I would always go, damn, man, if I just had Leave It to Beavers, Dad, life would have been so much different. You know why I'm like this? Because my dad was hard. Right? And then I got to the point where I'm like, yo, I'm so thankful I had the dad I had. I'm so thankful. Because the dad I had taught me things.
Yeah.
Right? The dad I had, I learned things. Right? The dad I had, I saw things. Right? It made me understand things. The life we had made us understand things. The life we had made us learn things. You say, man, you're like, man, I had the mom that was harder, right? And less of the mom I wanted and desired and needed. And then I had the mom that was great, right? Did all those things, right? But now you know that. And why that's so powerful, and you're making those eyes like it means nothing. Why that's so powerful is that you know how amazing that other mom is. Hell yeah. That's the only mom she knows. That's normal. That level's that's the known, because they don't know any else. Right. It's like, why do you hold good friends so dear? Man, because you know bad friends. Hell yeah. Why do you hold the true, real so close? Because you know what it's like having ones that aren't that real or close. Right? The only way to be able to have full appreciation, understanding of something is knowing the opposite of. Right? It's the only way to have that full grasp of. It's the easiest way. They have their own hardships, and then they know from that.
They only know what they only know what
they only know from what they know.
They only know what
they only know what they know. Right? They only know what they know, and that's not a knock on anybody. I don't think you have to have this extreme hard life to make it. Right? But you know good relationships because you know bad.
You know both sides. You got the best of both worlds.
You know good relationships because you know bad. You know good friends because you know some bad ones.
Right?
You know good business partners because I've had some shitty business partners.
Yeah, like for me, like growing
Right?
up,
That was I heard.
Yeah.
I got it. Like I saw the way you looked at me. I was like, I am not sending any kind of code here. Oh, because when I said that, you were like, I was like, nah, that wasn't a dig,
Yeah.
right? That wasn't a dig at anyone here, right? Clearly, I guess it was for someone not here. No, okay. The way I said that, I was like, yikes, right? Like we know what we want in our community because we know what we don't want in our community because we had it there, right? Like we know those things because we learned those things from going through it, right? It's just like why you learned how to sell, right, in a more effective way because we saw how not to sell in an effective way, right? People are like, wow, how do you get a close rate like that? Because I had a close rate opposite than that. Right, I had 116 no's in a row. I started thinking I was hideous. Right, I forgot how pretty I was.
Yeah, the to that point is like we put the reps in around this stuff, right? Not to get it right, but so that we don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I get what you're saying, and I 100% relate to it. And I don't know that I was disagreeing with that, with what I was saying at all. I think there's, I always say that there's people that, on paper, my childhood might have been traumatic, but to me, as Alex has pointed out a few times, like it really wasn't. It really
Right.
wasn't because I didn't have
Right.
anything to compare it to. At the same time, somebody who at 9 years old, their parents got into a really bad argument on Christmas Eve, and they
Right.
hold on to that for the rest of
Right.
their fucking lives
Right.
because we don't
What's
get
the
to
worst trauma to that?
right? Our traumas are going to impact us the way that they impact us. It's not going to be like, hey, damn, okay, my parents fought on Christmas Eve and it really hurt me, but that person over there has a worse life, so this shouldn't bother me.
No, of course
You
not.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
No,
absolutely
bro, it's gonna bother you to the extent that you let that
not.
bother
We always
you.
say
and
your
hold on
heart
to
is
it.
your heart, man. Own it. Don't
Yeah.
make excuses. Don't apologize for it
Let
either.
him go. He's
Rock bottom is of your
different.
decision.
Yeah.
You get to pick where your rock bottom is.
Yeah.
Some of my friends' rock bottom was overdosing on fucking Huff paint cans in their college reunion. Some of them was not making $50,000 a year. That was their rock bottom. They're like, never again. Right? Like, I'm going to make over $50K a year.
Or
Right?
not getting accepted to the fucking
Right? Like, not
school
going to the
that
college they
yeah,
want or something. Everybody's rock bottom is wherever
Yeah.
you pick, but that's powerful too because you get to fucking pick that thing. Right? Like, that's yours to decide. And in every area of your life. Listen, today's the rock bottom. So I keep doing this. Now that I have that thinking, I get to pick rock bottom. Today's the rock bottom of my life. It will never go below this point. And I've had it worse. I've been below it. But it'll never go below this point. This is my new rock bottom. This is my new floor. Right? So my building keeps getting bigger and bigger. I will not go below this thing. I will make sure it. Now, that doesn't mean I won't have days that are harder than this day, but I'm going to make sure that this is my rock bottom. It doesn't get that hard up here because I understand things better. I understand things different. I know things now. And 2 days from now, it might be harder, but I know more. I know 2 days worth more. Now, the other thing, you're like, what? Hitting me, right? Now, the other thing is this. Right? Call up the internet. AOL days. Back in the, I still have an AOL. I said
I
AOL
know.
days.
Coming from the guy who's got an AOL account.
Trying
Come
to be the
on.
last
Come
one.
on.
I still have
AOL.
like
Coach
$170,000.
Fabber at AOL. Email spamming this motherfucker, right? Come on.
Well, you got to get them off that thing because I'm trying to be the last one, and I'm not the epitome of health. All right, so, all right. So the other thing is this too, right? We were talking, and we were. Now, so one, we get to pick rock bottom. That's first. Second, tap in. All right, tap into your communities. Tap in. All right. Now, other thing is this. What did you say? What were you saying? What were you saying before?
I said that everybody's traumas
Oh,
impact them
here's
differently.
the deal. Right. Yes. And everybody has their own trauma. Everyone has their hard. We've talked about this before numerous times. And to judge other people's hard is like the dumbest thing on earth. Also, I think like I should be grateful because I don't have it hard like them is a really weird line of thinking.
Sympathize with Britney Spears in her situation, right? Be careful. I mean,
No, okay.
like, there are fucking people being trafficked across the fucking world, and you're like, this poor girl. Like, I get it, and it was a fucking fucked up situation.
Right.
But still, like, could you imagine the
Right.
world rallying around some real shit?
Right. But here's one of the things too. We're all going to have a hard. We're all going to have our trauma. We're all going to have our situations.
Right.
Do not wait. He was just topless in a place in Vegas and got kicked out, not allowed back. But we also have to determine how long are we going to let that hold us back or spring us forward.
Yes.
Because it is not like, I don't know who said this, 1,000,005 people. It is not your fault, but it's your responsibility, man. No one, right? Like no one's getting the check. Like you're not getting the check in the mail because you had it hard. It's not happening, right? It's like you're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to make a decision. You're gonna have to fight and be like, yo, I know this isn't my fault. I know I didn't earn this or deserve this or you should have had this. None of that. All that is true. But to go from this point on, it's you. Go ahead, pick, go, make decision, make an effort, make the choice,
What are you
take
gonna
the
do
step,
differently
take
than what you
action,
did before?
right? Like do it, think about it, figure it out, make moves, see what happens, make more moves, adjust, right? Like it's not going to be a perfect path. I think like people are like, I'm in business now, it should all work out. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's how growth happens. Sing, right? Like, yeah, good luck, bro. If it was that way, everyone would do it. It'd be very simple, and people would charge more, right? Because what's going to happen? It's like starting. How many people we work with that are starting businesses, and I love them to death. But they're like, hey, I started a business. I didn't make a sale yet. I'm like, yeah, it's been a day. Do you know who you're selling to? Right? Like, yeah, right. But it's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, right? Like, what, are we serious? Like, what are we talking about? Like, I know people that say they've been in business a year, and I'm like, dude, how many people you asked to buy? None. Wow. How are they going to buy? Right? Like, we've been in business years. We still ask people to buy. Right? Yes, you get some referrals. Yes, you get people to call you. Yes, hey, I need a roof. But you're going to more doors, and that's happening.
Yeah, to keep that going.
Right. Like you're going, like we're reaching out to more people than just in my little sphere that's like, I'll buy, right? Like, no, we'd be dead, right? Like we'd starve. Right. Like it's you got to go and take the steps. You got to take that. And it's not going to be immediate. But know this, if you keep doing it, I always look back. I was doing it today. I was reminiscing for a minute because we had a nice little milestone. I saw some other things that are coming around the corner. And I was like, dude, this is fucking dope time. And I was like, this is really cool. And I was thinking back and I was talking to one of our clients and his office is in his house. And he was talking like he just hired his first like sales rep. That's like literally commission-based sales. They're going to go make calls, make sales, get commission. And I'm like, bro, think about this. At one point, you're going to have an office and you're going to have people on the phones there, your sales team making calls. And you're going to sit there and go, what the fuck, this, that, this. And in a second, it'll hit you and you go, holy shit. Like I used to be in a room in my house, right? Like I'll never forget making the office in the outside of that garage thing, right? That looked like it was going to fall down. It wasn't built on right. Right. It was like tilted. I remember being like, we fucking made it. Yeah, look at this thing. Like we have an office, right? It had like the green, like, you know, what's funny? People laugh now because there's a spot in the office now that has like that green artificial grass shit in it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's a spot in it. And what that is paying homage because that was the floor in the first office, right? Was the green fake grass. And I was always like, why'd they put this down? Right. Like, I don't know why this is here, but it's like, and Bobby talks to us a lot about from the trailer to the house, right? From the basement to the office, right? Like there are little things that when you take those steps, all of a sudden you start looking back and you're like, look how far we made it in such a short time. But when you're like, I'm going to make this tomorrow, that's not going to happen. But if you just keep taking step after step after step, action after action, learning, growing, investing, growing, doing, developing, you're going to look back and be like, holy shit, look at this freaking journey. Like, look at this ride we're on. And what we're living now was once the dream. It was the hope. Hell, what we're living now wasn't even the dream. We didn't even think this was real. Right? Like we were never like, we didn't start off being like, yo, we're going to throw like hundreds of people in a room in the most expensive, beautiful resort in the United States. Right? Like that wasn't it. We were like, bro, maybe we'll coach somebody at some point. Right? Call me coach. Right? Like now I'm like, don't fucking call me coach. Right? See you, Matt, baby. But that all starts with steps, baby steps, one step, rejection, bad, not going the way you want it to. Oh my God, it's going good. Oh my God, it's not. Right? And it's like over and over and over. And the good thing is, and the sucky thing, you get to decide. You get to take the action. You get to take the step. It's all on you.
Bro, I think that should be like the summary of this entire episode and perhaps even part of a bigger segment that we teach on and talk about because it is that, bro. Like you brought up, yeah, dude, there's so many moments. Like, dude, I remember the other day, like I was sitting in my office. I was like, bro, I own this desk. Like that's my desk. Like, cause sometimes you just get caught up in this run that you're on. You're on this run, you know? And it's like, I'm like, dang, bro, we own these trucks. We own that desk. We own this, all of this stuff. We own this stuff. This is our shit. Like, we did this, and it's our office, and we're doing that, and that machine that we're using is ours, and we're serving these people. This is all us. This is us, genuinely. But yeah, it is. You definitely have to reflect on those moments, because it is, you can get caught in that race sometimes. But you brought up something earlier that, man, I think is worth like going back to for a second. It's that fault versus responsibility thing. And you're right, it's all a decision, but we're trained to think that if something that we're experiencing is the fault of others, then it's on them to make it right. Right?
I
Like,
mean, that's the thing, man. Like with life, dude, there is no responsibility to anybody else. It's your responsibility, man. Like hands down, when it comes down to it, dude, like I can blame everybody else for my problems, right? Like I can blame all these people. I mean, I can blame my ex-leader for being terrible. I mean, that's the truth.
I
but
blame you for sticking around too long.
it is what it is. I mean, yeah, true.
Sorry, I'm
but
just picking on you now.
I mean, that is true though. I did stick around too long. She was awful. But the circumstances in how we see things, right? Like in how we evolve, how we grow, right? Like ultimately, I would love, right, to be in a position to where I created my own deal, right? That's great. Like could happen.
Should happen.
Should happen. Will happen, right? Whatever else. I mean, I'm just
you're
thankful.
one decision away.
But see, dude, I'm just thankful for my community, man. Like,
Yeah.
Unleash You Now, Faber and I built this many years ago to sustain everything, right? Not just like, not to sustain the times and the market, but to sustain us, right? Like to sustain the ability to grow together, right? Like, no matter what you face in life, our community's here, man. Like Unleash You Now, we have built based on an entire life of no, right? Like we built an entire business foundation on the fact that we were told that we'd never be anything. I mean, that's just a fact, man. Like growing up, I was a poor kid. I was to never mount to anything, right? Like I was seen as a waste of space. Faber, waste of space. Bobby Jones, waste of space.
At least it was a little bit of space. You know what I mean?
I mean,
I was like 140,
but
at
still
like 19.
but
20.
you still had a space that you were
Facts.
wasting, right? You were in a cell, wasting away to nothing, bro. Like, I mean, is what it is, dude. Like,
Wasting your tax dollars.
right. But the three of us here were wastes. And Q, good dude, young kid.
Q's been a
chosen.
contributor since day one.
That's right. But I'll tell you this, man, like Muhammad, right? But here's the deal, though. Yeah, right. Whoa. Muslim. But here's the deal, man. When we talk about this, right? Like we were written off. This is terrible. How dare you? Can we not focus on the shades of brown of the brown man, please? Come on.
Happening over here.
All right. You are beautiful, sir. But I will say this, man, that we three individuals sitting here were written off. We should be write-offs to bullshit.
Oh, I'm sure Quantre's been written off in some fashion.
I'm sure he has too, right? But the fact of the matter is that we did not
right back, baby.
allow it. Well, we didn't allow it, right? Like we didn't allow that narrative to take place.
Geno Smith said in his fucking interview at the Seahawks, he was like, they wrote me off, but the problem was I didn't write back.
That was the best part.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Like you're about to be in Amsterdam. Were you about to say something?
Hey, real quick, on the fault versus responsibility thing, just to bring some closure to that. In Will Smith's video, is really interesting that he talks about this. This is before he smacked the shit out of Chris Rock, of course. Back when we cared about what he said. Back before we wrote him off. No, he said this, and he was like, just because or you were in an abusive relationship, and that might not have been your fault, right? but it is your responsibility to do something about it. And I think going back to what Mike has said multiple times throughout this podcast is it's our decision. It's our choice, man. And the more that we lean into that understanding, the more that we gain control, and the more that we understand, like, it doesn't matter what we were told. It doesn't matter what we were said. It doesn't matter what people did to us. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we are in control of our destiny. Whether we fucking want to admit it or not, we are in control of our destiny. The more that we lean into that idea, the more that we can start to make decisions that go along with an outcome that we are actually interested in having.
And more than that, we want to be. Like, we want to be in control. Like, when we give other people control of our life, there's a huge problem happening.
Bro, I was, when I met my fucking daughter, I was told that I was holding her too long and I needed to give her back.
Right. Oh, God. I'll stab people in the face. Right?
Right? Do you understand? Like,
violence is not the answer, Michael.
why? Like, why do we want, like, you know what I'm saying? The more, bro, I can rant on this all day. It's just control, bro. Control. Like, the things that are in our control, right? Like, I don't have a fucking $1 million in my bank account.
Then you're not a millionaire. That's what the
Right?
person told me.
Because I'm in control of that in other areas. You know what I'm saying?
Still
Like,
not a millionaire then.
it's so important to me to be in control of the outcomes associated to what I'm doing in my lifetime.
Dude, they were so in control, they decided what a millionaire was or not.
Oh, listen, I don't need the label.
Right? No,
I don't need the label.
they asked the question on Facebook. They're like, what makes one a millionaire? Well, I thought they were asking like the real term. No, right? I thought the real like definition of,
Right, because if you have $1 million
millionaires,
and you're a
do not have
millionaire,
$1
if you
million
spend
in the bank.
$1, now you're no longer a millionaire.
Your millionaire is your net worth.
Yeah.
So like your property value, but what if you don't have a mortgage on it, depending on or what your mortgage is down.
Right, your equities, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's taking your value, your worth, and if it's $1 million or more, you're a millionaire. Why there's more millionaires now than ever is because things cost more too now. Right? The same house that costs $150,000 now costs $350,000 or
Bro,
more.
I bought a house at the beginning of 2023 for $160,000.
Mhm.
I've done little to nothing to it. It appraised for $240 just recently.
Bingo. Right? So now if you own that house outright, that's $240 of your net worth. Boom, just there, that one thing. Right? So when you break down your worth, you are a millionaire. Right? Because of all the different things you can pick and put together. Right? You're a multi-millionaire, actually. Right? I would safely bet. Right? So they asked that, and I was like, oh, I know this. Let me explain. Right? Thinking they were asking for the Jeopardy answer.
Right, like they wanted the actual
They
answer.
did not.
No,
I found out,
they wanted something comfortable.
unfortunately, after. Right? And they were like, incorrect. And I was like, oof, all right. What makes you say incorrect? They're like, because you don't have $1 million in the bank. Like, okay, well, first, a millionaire has $1 million. Do you think they literally have $1 million in their hand? Right? Like, no, then maybe, but then they own nothing of value. Right? Like, and they should
And
buy
again,
something.
that also means they can't spend $10.
Right. So, but it was like, I was like, and then it was like the argument started. They're like, they've accumulated $1 million in their life. Like, no, right?
Then everybody will be considered a million.
At some point, right? You hope.
Yeah, if you're in the work field and you like, yeah, over time.
Right? But I'm like, no, that's not it. Right? And like, and then people were just counting answers, and I'm like, oh my God, do people really not
know the definition?
Like we don't take the universal idea of a millionaire and we don't know this, or like we disregard this and like make our own? Because now I understand why there's more billionaires on Clubhouse than on Earth. Because we just made our own rules about what a billion is. Right. Like, oh, dude, if you take everyone in my family ever, add it all up, plus double it for what's to come, we're billionaires. All right. God, I just didn't know. We made it. You didn't know we made it.
Wait, can I count EBT in this?
What all can we count? They were literally like
generations for
and people were like shitting on me for saying what the common looked at, understood way of a millionaire is.
In my wallet for years, bro. I had a $1 fucking food stamp in my wallet for fucking years. And so one day I was
Disintegrate.
Yeah, the evaporate. It became ants. Dude, someone said the attention span of an ant. I'm like, bro, you don't understand the attention span of an ant is long. You throw a leaf in the way of an ant, it is going around the leaf, back on track, and go.
That's a whole adventure.
The attention span of an ant is huge, I think. Right? Like, so to say it's small, I think it's just you don't understand. Right? Goldfish, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah. Yeah. Ted Lasso, what the he's science.
Memory for 3 seconds. That was 10 seconds.
10 seconds is a long time. You know, for a split second, when your head gets cut off with a sharp enough object, you can see. Now here's my question. How do we know that? Right? Like, I'm like, hold up. How do we know this to be true? They cut his head off. He can't say anything, but he's like, right? You're like, oh my God, he was blinking. Anyway, from State Farm. They're fucking khakis. So easy. Caveman can do it. Commercials come back. you know, every psychotic murderer dresses like he does. All right, Q. Have your closing remark. A closing remark. You start it. We'll go around the table. Alex goes last because for some reason he's supposed to. What we learned earlier when we did intros.
Yeah.
Last I checked, going around. I didn't know we had I didn't know this was first grade.
I know.
Q, starting with you alphabetically. Last goes first.
I know, right?
Trying to make up for lost.
Yeah, make up lost time. But yeah, great discussion. But I see. Appreciate you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I knew you got it, but like,
yeah, I definitely got it.
Casper's over here. We're like, what?
It's all good.
Sorry, Q. I'll stop interrupting you.
No, it's all good.
Story of history. I said Casper's. Yes, I'm with you.
No.
All three of us.
Well, it's fucking winter, okay? I'm a little cold. You would be.
You gotta go to the
That's why I
tanning.
wear the white hoodie because you wouldn't even been able to see me.
You got to go to the tanning booth with me.
Tanning booth? Like, no.
I mean, you're red hot right now, but it's all good.
He is red hot.
I'm fire. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody. And, remember, you have a choice of really determining your path. That's really how I have to say it. Like, you had that decision if, like, all right, am I going to wallow in the sadness? Am I going to, which days, we're going to need that time to ourselves, but it's like, how long do we decide on that? So that's all I really got to say, and be kind to others. So,
yo, bro, here's the thing. All of you out there listening and watching on Mr. Faber's Live, quitting is the easy thing because we all have an excuse that we could have leaned into, right? We could have all said, oh man, well, I was in this relationship and I was treated this way, or I was, I had this childhood and this happened and I can't do stuff because of that, or, this happened, whatever, right? We all have excuses, but here's the reality, man. There are people out there. What's that motivational speaker? The one I'm talking about with the little chicken wing, like fucking arm. No, he literally calls it a chicken wing. I'm not degrading him. He doesn't have any legs or arms. Nick, Stasio or some shit like that, right? This dude's got no legs and no arms, bro. Do you know how easy it would have been for him to be just like, fuck this? Nobody would have judged him. They'd have been like, we get it, bro. Like, you quit on this thing called life. We understand. And yet, this dude travels the fucking world, hopping all over stages, motivating people. Bro, I'm saying how it is, bro. Like, we all have excuses, bro. You could have quit. Alex, you could have fucking quit. Quantre, you could have been like, hey, man, listen, I gave it this shot. It didn't work out. They let me go. Like, we all could have wallowed in our fucking sorrow. But that isn't going to get us anywhere we want to go. Nothing in life that's easy is worth having. and nothing worth having is going to come to you easily.
Mm.
We have to make decisions that lead us down a difficult journey that are going to give us wonderful things. But it starts with a decision, and it stops with an excuse.
Ooh.
You decide.
Well, I guess I'll go now because Michael Faber has to go last. Apparently, we can't go in order. We have to go in weird order. Whatever. Listen. No matter what we are fighting, no matter what we are internally battling, we got you. You know, community is here, family is here. The UnleashU. Yeah, I got the hiccups. Eat a dick. The UnleashU Now family is genuinely here for you, and I'm gonna kill all of you. You're all. This is the last day you'll all see Michael Faber.
Alex,
Last
you
day
can't
you see
even
my-
fight, bro.
He's about to take his 4-month break.
Try me. Try me. That's all I got to say. Try me. You're a podcast. Word. Community. That's what it's all about. Love you guys.
Love you too. So I'm here. I have to go last. That's why I'm Michael Faber. No, we did this, right? Yeah, there we go. I actually want to say something I find interesting.
Come on, man. Hit us with it.
Let me tell you, can someone tell me what 6% of entrepreneurs do? 6%. No, you're going to love this. What 6% of entrepreneurs do?
Sell.
What?
Sell.
Sorry, my beard is going out. Sell?
Yeah.
No. 6% of all entrepreneurs make 6 figures ever. Only 6%.
Let's go.
All right, I knew you would like that. I knew you would like that. You know, the average, less than 50% of entrepreneurs make $25K a year, which means they can't stay in it for 4 years because they do not make enough. And that's why they fail. Just chewing right in his ear. Just chewing. Right? Yeah. 6% break 6 figures. 6%. Think you break more than that a year, brother. Isn't that crazy? And this is research, so you can search it. All right, this is in Faber numbers. Now, Alex is trying to get rid of the hiccups. He gave me the finger. Now, why I say that? 6% do not make 6 figures because they are talented. The stats say they make 6 figures because they're willing to keep going. They're willing to do it.
Mhm.
So when Bobby talked about quitting, most of entrepreneurs do not make it because they quit before they do. Now, business, life, are you drooling down your face, you Viking ass? All right. Business, life, anything in general. You don't know how close you are to making it unless you go to the next day and see if you made it. If you didn't, go one more day and see if you made it. If you live by that philosophy, I will win or I won't know I didn't. Right? This is what we talk about. We talk about that. I'm going to paint my masterpiece, but it's not for me to see. It's one day my eyes aren't going to open. And everybody else gets to judge it. Because what I did wasn't for me. What I did was for everybody else. And when you do that, when you live, do it just to make the masterpiece that others get to see, the Sistine Chapel, the Mona Lisa, where others get to judge, we are producing for others. Damn right. So go live your life. If you didn't make it today, go one more day. And let everyone discuss what an amazing life you live and what you left behind. Leave a legacy worth leaving.
Leave a legacy. Wrap us up. I love everybody. Unleash you now. Be awesome.